Picture this. It's a hot summer's day, the clouds are gathering as the sun sets, rain softly starts to drip down, and you are playing a game. The game has some good music, definitely has some amazing animation, but you just feel kind of empty, almost bored. Sea of Stars is a game that was lauded last year as being an amazing gem that almost appeared out of nowhere, despite the Kickstarter gathering a total of 1.6 million Canadian dollars, which for an indie studio is a hell of a lot of money. I'm going to guess that they had no real thought of marketing beyond a few socials though, because there was very little advertising that actually appeared before me. Anyway, the game released and all over the channels and feeds I have, the game was said to be amazing. Now, pixel RPGs are a thing I love. Well, loved, when I was 8 years old in the 1990s, when pixel RPGs were a big thing and there were hundreds to choose from. So when I saw that this was another one of those, my curiosity was piqued. Then I saw the art style and they had my full attention. But boy, oh boy, does this game reek of indie devs with a lot of passion. Now, that is not bad. In fact, it's very, very good. The game has polish in areas that you would never expect and has several areas that you can see are purely there because developers loved every single moment of it. In this instance, developers include the artists, songmakers, writers, and whatever else is needed. Yes, I know, producers and directors and whatever else as well. That said, there are so many parts to this game that made me annoyed, frustrated, angry, bored, and just overall made me want to put down the keyboard. It was already wrong anyway, and play something else. Like, I don't know, freaking Fortnite. I heard that isn't unfairly punishing. What made me want to quit? Use the relics, people. Just don't even try to play this game without them. Mostly because the balance is awful without the relics. I wanted to quit only about 1 hour into the game because it genuinely made me so unbelievably frustrated that I did put it down for a day. Relics, by the way, is how you manage the difficulty of Sea of Stars. Out of the box, the game is punishingly difficult. And apart from one errant mention, it very poorly explains that you need to use these for a better time overall, because you're gonna have a bad time. The way the fighting in the game works without relics is not just difficult, but absolutely absurd. You don't heal after a fight on standard. So far, really normal to be honest. I kinda like that. You also don't recover any mana points, okay? That makes it a bit more challenging. Your only healing items are food. You can only hold 10 of them at a time. That's a bit different. Food can only be made at fireplaces, which are in camps. Not all rest locations have fireplaces. Well, then those fireplaces must be frequent, right? No. And this is where the game lost me on its difficulty curve. Not being able to save the game for long stretches of time is part of the course for these kinds of games. However, limiting my healing items, not refreshing my characters ever, and then also not giving regular spots to item manage is just plain brutally dumb. I got halfway through the first big area in the game and legitimately had no more items left. I was struck out by the same 3 bomber guys in 10 minutes. I could not go back and I could not move forward. In fact, my only other option other than a relic was to run around the enemies, just not playing the game. Listen, if you are an indie dev, or in fact a random dev from Sea of Stars or some other AAA games, you need to not do this. This one singular issue genuinely made the entire experience horrible from here on out. It wasn't punishing, it wasn't complicated, it was just horrible. Sea of Stars in this manner is more unfairly balanced than a Souls game. What's worse, this had to be intentional. The only thing that is needed to make this experience not a horrible, game-hating, game-breaking, I barely picked up the game again after this thing, is to make saves and fireplaces more regular. Legitimately, if you have halfway zones through each area where I can heal up and make some food, instantly I would be willing to play this game on its hardest difficulty. I can already hear someone going, "But Sock, that's part of the challenge." No, you idiot. They put in rest stops before each big boss fight. They know that this is an issue and they still did not fix it. In the end, I activated every single relic except the Tactician's one, which makes the game more challenging, which had a massive effect on the end game and my levels of boredom with it. But we'll get to that later in the review. The gameplay of Sailing Stars Oceans. Simply put, the gameplay is nice. I liked it, and after the initial frustration I got used to it and easily handled most of the game. There are a few world gripes that need to be sorted out, but the overall gameplay is fine. Yeah, fine. Oh, you want more? Fucking hell, okay then. The game does not use the mouse, which is normal. Instead, you use the spacebar for 90% of all actions. Movement is the WASD keys. So you can play it with one hand if you really want to, but the mouse does nothing. So your usually right hand just kind of hangs out. Never mind the instructions though. You can just use the directional keys to move around, making it much more easier and actually using both hands. Look, ma, both hands! Anyway, fighting is turn-based, requires quick reactions and also some tactical knowledge that you can only get through random guessing. Traveling the overworld is painfully slow, right until the final, let's say, hour of the game. Yeah, the final hour where you go fight the big bad evil guy. Only then does traveling to different islands and even spots on those islands become slightly faster. Exploring the world is super important because there are nooks and crannies with hidden stuff everywhere. Basically, every weapon you can buy, you can find in a chest somewhere in the world. Companions join through story arcs and become more or less important as we continue to move and play. Talking to others is easy too. Just walk up to them and press space. Just hope no one else is nearby or the tracking will be confused. The ship offers a moving rest location. The map function is tantamount to useless, and also there is no fast travel. Did that take a turn for the worse? Yes, because this game, a game that requires multiple trips of backtracking for actual story events, it does not have fast travel. Need to talk to one person in the middle of an area on an island on the other side of the map? Well, boy, you're crap out of luck. Get ready to sail, walk slowly, then refight all the same enemies again and again, only to have a 2-sentence conversation, then go back to where you started to redo it all. The only kind of good thing is that puzzles don't reset when you leave an area, which I guess is kind of okay. Right now, I am heading towards the true ending. To do this, I've spent around, I think, 10 hours after reaching the spot where I can initiate the final boss fight. Out of those 10 hours, I'd say around 9 of them have just been spent walking around in areas where the fly ability can't be used because that is only on for the overworld maps. So my state of mind right now is one of extreme boredom because we need to discuss those relics I mentioned earlier. Initially, they make the game significantly easier to play. The first one I activated was the automatic healing after a fight. I then quickly bought everything I could find and just activated all of the good relics. I now cannot play the game without these relics, as I'm aware 90% of my fighting strategy relies on them, but also I've become over leveled to the point that not even the dwellers are an issue. In fact, the stupid slug is the closest I have come to dying in the entire game since activating the relics. All this together means that I am slowly going from place to place, completing side missions, refighting extremely weak monsters in places that are no longer interesting to even look at. The gameplay of Sea of Stars is amazing at times, and at other times it's so frustratingly boring that I actively watch streams on my Xbox while playing just to not fall asleep. The gameplay was a solid 7 out of 10 for me. I've had to power through much worse, but I've also played plenty of old pixel RPGs with a much better gameplay. As a last note, everything in this game is controlled by WASD and keyboard, with Enter sometimes functioning as an alternative. Yet, some developer went, you know, this real side game mini thing we have. Yeah, so spacebar, navigation buttons, and E. Those are my controls for this game. Each time I play this frustrating, not random game, I am stuck with my hand doing weird gymnastics across the keyboard. What is the story being told in Stars of Sea? I can tell you the story up to a certain point of Sea of Stars and then it becomes a spoiler. So we are Zale and Valir, 2 new solstice warriors, which are just kids born on the winter and summer solstices. We have a friend named Gale, not Gale, no, Gale, just gets nice and stuck in the throat, that one, like phlegm. Together the 3 of us sneak into a place we shouldn't be. Gale loses an eye. We get taken to an academy and quickly, something like 10 years pass. We go back down, go through trials, meet with Gale, go through more trials, and into the overworld we go. After getting yeeted by yeet, yeah, that one went badly at all. We meet a pirate crew and the pirate captain. We go to fight several things, solve some puzzles, and off we go to fight the Dweller of Woe. Boom bam, Garl blows up a roof, and together with the headmaster and our 2 senior warriors we kick some butt. And then we get betrayed by the 2 Sea Solstice warriors because they are sad. Yeah, that was a spoiler, but that is legitimately their reasoning. They're sad. That's as far as I'll tell you about that, but what it comes down to is the story only really starts from that moment on. Our adventure grows kinda wild from there, and I enjoyed a lot of parts of it. I also hated everything to do with Reed's Wiki, Graves and Erlina. Yes, that's their names. Yes, if I knew them, I'd hit them with the back end of a shovel. The story develops in quite a few interesting ways from there. We also get several flashbacks as to why some characters do some things, with B and E being even dumber for what they did than could possibly be imagined. Again, Their main motivation is, we are sad, we have responsibility, blah blah blah. When this game ends, they get a happy ending, and I completely and utterly disagree with that entirely. In universe, they undo something like 200 years of work and sacrifice from basically all other Solstice warriors because they are sad. Anyway, the rest of the story, when these two aren't around, is amazing. I genuinely love the nooks and crannies that are around the world, with so many people and things that have something to tell or do, which livens up the entire story as we move through it. Frustratingly, I can't talk too much about the rest of the story or what happens, who certain characters are, or their motivations. It's all a spoiler, which I do try to avoid, except for the one that made me angry. Overall, I give the story a 6 out of 10. Not too bad, very predictable, made me want to see the end of it all at least a little bit. They made Sun's water swimming look amazing. This is honestly where the game shows how much love and care was given to it. There is not a single area in this game that looks the same or is a reused asset. Every single part of it is amazing, from the basics like the sprites of the characters in the overworld to the close-ups of the characters in the pixel cutscenes. Even more detailed are the anime-style cutscenes, which I was amazed by when I first saw them. They came with no warning and no signal, just normal playing and then boom, anime cutscene. They happen infrequently too, with some scenes I expected to be anime being just high quality pixel art, giving a good mixture of the two storytelling graphics. For example, the dragon being pixel graphics throughout its cutscene was a shock. Then only a short while later, some random character scene was anime again, which did confuse me greatly. The attacks are all animated too, with the basic attacks feeling fast, heavy, or just effective. What's more interesting is when we look at the animation of each skill, which all have their own special animations as well. The things I loved the most at first were just the combos. They make the fight fun and also have a unique flair to them, which I really enjoyed. Right up until I got the first ultimate attack. These things, friends, these look fantastic and they are all unique, beautiful, and absolutely amazing. In fact, in my personal opinion, Azael and Valir, our two main characters, have the most basic ultimate attacks, with the moon or sun attacks that overwhelm the entire area. These have functions and some form to them too. Bist, Roshan, and Sarai though, these are amazing, with Bist's making me genuinely scared of him when I first used it. While Roshan's is by far the most effective, you're telling me he does hundreds of points of damage and then also uses all full health? That's just amazing. Of course, my favorite one is Sarai's, or should I say Captain Cliche, because it is just a, you know what, just watch this. Yeah, it's that great. I love the look of these attacks, and whenever I can use them, I use them. But I don't think there's much more to say really. The visuals of Sea of Stars is amazing. The work of Sea of Stars is an easy 10 out of 10. Things to change or just improve. If I could change one thing about this game, yeah, pretty much said it already. Just the food making stations, really. Wait, no. Ruganos and Relina, they need a better motivation to portray their entire world, get it eaten and destroyed by a literal nightmarish monster that will destroy them all and eat the entire planet. Then we have to work. We have responsibility. We didn't ask for this. We're just so sad. Yeah, those two things. Next game, fix that. Can't wait for the DLC though. Yeah, there's DLC coming for this game with a mysterious woman called Clockwork, I don't know. You should attempt it at least once. Yes, what the scene transition just said. While the game has been frustrating at several different times, I still recommend it. Maybe not highly, but I do recommend it. If these types of games are what you like or have liked in the past, this is definitely an experience you need to go through. Several parts of it are definitely going to hit you right into nostalgia, while several other parts of Sea of Stars will make you really appreciate modern culture and memes. Legit, I did actually get invested enough that the tearjerker moment almost barely worked on me, which is amazing considering I also spent around 15 hours trying to speedrun every single conversation. Overall, the experience of Sea of Stars is a great one and you will definitely have fun while playing, along with feeling some modern day frustrations. So I guess something like a 8 out of 10 overall. Also, this year is just very clearly Daffy Duck with a hoodie. When I first saw him, I was genuinely distracted by it for the next half hour of the game. Thanks for watching, guys. As you can probably tell, I'm slowly getting some kind of structure to these things. They're all called confusing reviews now, so get used to that name scheme. The ratings for each section is new though. Thinking it might help understand understand what I think of the game overall. I'm not sure about that one though. Also, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and for the love of all that is good and pixelated, leave a comment down below. You have no idea just how much that helps my channel and just like the growth of how people see me. Like, organic growth is basically the only way that I'm growing at the moment. So if you leave a comment that like boosts the organic growth or something, I'm not sure. The YouTube algorithm is like some kind of sorceress literally stuck on the other side of the world for me. And as always, remember that I love you more than the next one, and I love you more than the previous one. Ciao.